If you are new here, this is the most beginner-friendly complete web development course, and these are some of the projects we will be covering in this course. I upload lots of lessons per week, so please subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any of them. I respond promptly to comments, so if you want to ask or say something, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you missed any of the previous lessons, the link to the entire playlist is down in the description box. Let's get started. Hello guys, so in this project we are going to be creating a simple encryption and decryption algorithm. Alright, this algorithm, what is it going to do? I don't know what you know about encryption, but let's take for example WhatsApp. When you type a message, and usually when you start a chat with someone, you see on the top that it says your chat with whoever has an end-to-end encryption. What it essentially means is that when you type a message and then you press send, okay, this message is carried over a network. Now, any hacker or anyone can intercept the message over the network, and then they can see what you are the message you are sending. But to prevent this from happening, the message is encrypted. So when you type your message, you say, let's say hello. This message is converted to a format that is not understandable. Okay, it's converted to something that looks absolutely weird and ununderstandable. So if anyone intercepts that message whilst it is being transferred over the network, they would not get anything from it. They wouldn't know what you are trying to say. All right. When this encrypted message reaches the other person's phone, the message is converted back into what you typed. Okay, the message that makes sense, it is converted back, and then the person sees hello. All right, so this is encryption and decryption. So on your phone you have the encryption algorithm that will encrypt your message as you send it, and on the recipient end you have the decryption, and then it will receive the message and then decrypt it to the sensible message that you sent. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and create a folder for this project. Let's call it encryption. Right, and then go ahead and open your VS Code and open this folder. Okay, so let's create the folder, the files that we'll be needing. First, we need an index.html file, and then we need a main, or let's call it, okay, let's just call it main.js. All right, okay, so let me close the welcome. All right, let's get a simple boilerplate code. Actually, we won't be doing anything in the HTML file here, just so that we have something to link our JavaScript to. So we call it encryption. And then we will link our JavaScript file over here using the script tags. Okay, now let's go into our JavaScript and see if our linking has been done successfully. So I will I'll alert hello. All right, save it. Let's open our live server. So our live server is now open. Let me save the code again and see if it's well connected. Okay, there you go. So our JavaScript has been successfully connected. Right. Now, how are we going to build this? Okay, but before that, let me let you know that this is a very basic encryption decryption algorithm. This is not, of course, this is not what WhatsApp uses, right? They would use a more complex encryption algorithm. So the more complex the algorithm is, or the more efficient the algorithm is, the more difficult it is for a hacker to intercept it and then find what is in the message. Okay, so this is something very simple but useful actually. All right, so we are going to create a function. Okay, and inside this function, what are we going to do? We are going to convert the message that is given to the function. Okay, so you give a message to the function, you call the function with a message. All right, and the message can be something like hello. Okay, and the next thing is that you split this string, okay, the hello string that you pass to the function, you split the string into an array. Remember, using the split method of JavaScript. And so you have the message split, you have each on its own, E, L, L, and then O. So when we have this array, we will convert each of the letters, right, into something that is unrecognizable. So we convert hello, HELL, all to different things altogether, and then bring them all back together. Now they will look something that doesn't make sense, right? So let me show you what I mean. Right. So first, we want to create a function, right? So we are going to try and use both of the ways of creating functions. We use the normal, the old way, and then we also use the ESS way. Remember the ESS way. So this is what we are going to do. This is the ESS way. So we create a variable, and then over here we open and close our parentheses, and we use the fat arrow. Okay, that is the main thing about the ESS. It's actually called the arrow function. All right, and then our curly braces like that. Okay, so this is the name of our function. And remember, you don't have to use the keyword function. Okay, and we want a parameter. Now the parameter we want is the message that will be passed to the function, or the message that the user wants to send. Right, so you pass the parameter here, we call it message. Okay, and in ESAs, if you have only one parameter, you actually don't need the parenthesis over here, so you can get rid of the parenthesis like this. Okay, but if you have multiple parameters, then you need the parenthesis. Okay, let's now go into our function. Okay, so first I want to create a variable that I'll call encrypted message. All right, and I won't set it to any value for now. Now this, what we are going to use this variable for is that we are going to encrypt the message. All right, so once we encrypt the message, you will save the encrypted version in this variable. Okay, now let's create a constant, okay, and call it message array. Remember, I said that we are going to split the message into an array so that we have all the letters standing on their own. So we split the message, right, using the JavaScript split method, and then we split it um, by nothing. Okay, so what this means, if we split it by a space, it means that when you have an array like hello, how are you doing, then it will split it by the space between all the rest. So it will split it, the first element or the first item of the array will be hello, the second item will be how. But if we split it by nothing like this, okay, then it will split its character by character. So hello will be split into HELL. So each letter will be an item of the array on its own. All right. Okay. So here we want to console.log the array. Okay, and make sure that we've successfully split it the way we want. Okay. So message array, and let's see, message array like this. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is to create another variable which we'll call encrypted message array. Okay, we'll call it encrypted message array like this. Okay, and we want to set it to an empty array. Okay, we are initializing it with an empty array. So what we are using this for is that first I said we are going to split the message that is provided here, okay, into an array. All right, which we will have here. Now once we have the array here, we have the individual letters HELLO. Now we are going to take each letter, and then we convert it into something, a different character altogether. Now the different characters that you get, we'll arrange them in this new array over here. So if you convert each to, let's say, a plus, okay, then you add the plus here, and you convert E to let's say an exclamation sign, then you add it over here. So you have a new array that corresponds to the old array, okay, or the old message. You'll see what we mean as we go along. Okay, so the next thing, now we want to look at all the alphabets that we can possibly have, okay, all the English alphabets, because those are the things that make up a message, right? So we want to convert each alphabet. So we want to look at the message and then convert the alphabet in the message into something. Okay, so this is an opportunity to use the for loop. Okay, so for I equals 0, I is less than message array. Okay, so the array that we make from the message dot length, like this, and then finally I plus plus. Okay, inside our loop we want to create a switch statement. Okay, that is an if statement but the switch type. Okay, so we want to convert the letter depending on what letter it is. So if it is an A, we want to convert it to a different letter. If it's a B, we want to convert it to a different letter. So over here we are looping. Okay, we are looping over the array that we get from the message. Okay, so if you have hello, for example, you have HELLO, or as individual items of the array. So we want to loop over them and we want to find the letter that is there. So if we find an A, we should convert it to something. If we find a B, we should convert it to something, and that is why we are going to use the switch statement. So first, let's create a variable for the letter. Okay, so let's use the let keyword and say letter. Right, so whatever letter that we get, okay, we will convert it to something and we will save that something in this letter keyword over here. Okay, so we want to say switch. All right, and then the variable that will be changing is the message array, not just the message array, the message array at I. Remember, we are using a for loop, so we say message array I, that is the index. All right, and inside the switch block, if you don't remember how switch works, I would advise that you revise the if or else, the conditions lesson, okay, where we looked at if or else and arrays, and switch statement as well. Okay, so here we have case. What's happening? We have case A. Okay, and if the letter is A, we want to convert it to, we want to set the letter to you can use any symbol at all. So I want to use this symbol. So if you find A, replace it with this symbol. Essentially, that is what I'm saying here. Then I'll bring my brick. Then I'll go for the next case. If the letter is a B, I want to save it as this symbol over here. All right. And then once again, the brick statement. If the letter is C, I want to set the letter equal to this symbol. All right, so you can do this for all the letters, right? I'm just doing them in order of them. I'm just using any character at all, but make sure that you don't repeat any character. And how I'm going to do this to make sure I don't repeat any character is that I'm going to start from the character at maybe 1. Okay, the number 1. So in front of the number 1, actually there's a character, so you can use that one. And then you go to 1, shift plus 1, you use that character. Shift plus 2, you use that character. Then you go ahead and use all the characters that you can get, but make sure you don't repeat a character. So I'm going to do that for all the letters here. All right, so I have done it for all the alphabets that we can possibly have, and I've put this comment here just to show you something. So you can't actually use the backslash, okay, symbol, because the backslash is a special character in JavaScript. It's called the escape character, okay. You can search about what the escape character does in JavaScript. It's actually very useful. All right, so I've done it for all the letters, and remember that the last statement in a switch statement is always the default. Okay, that is if the user types something other than any of these letters, what do you want to happen? So we've done it for all the letters. That is to say that if the message contains letters, we know what to do. But what if the message contains say a symbol, okay, like comma, like apostrophes and all that? What then do we want to do? So if it is anything other than a letter, we want to set it to the same character, okay? So if it is anything other than a letter, so it's like comma, then you want it to remain a comma. Or if it's an apostrophe, you want it to remain an apostrophe. And as I said, this is just something very simple. In a real world algorithm, encryption algorithm, you want to make sure you cover everything. You set something to everything to something. So instead of setting it to the same, setting comma to the same comma, you can set comma to you know, some combination of letters or anything. So you can do that on your own and see how this works. All right. So we have our default over here. Okay, let me open the console. Right. So going back to our code. So once we've done that, this is where our switch statement ends. Okay. And you have to be careful. You might think, you know, there are a lot of curly braces here. You might think your switch statement ends here. Meanwhile, it ends here. You have to, once you click on this closing curly brace, the opening one will also be highlighted. So you can go back up and look at what it corresponds to. And you see this one is highlighted. It means it corresponds to the switch statement. And you can highlight this one to also see which one it corresponds to. And then you see that it corresponds to the curly braces of the for statement. And then the last one over there is for the function itself. All right. Okay. So inside our for loop, okay, when we loop over each of the letters, for example, we loop over the word hello, we have the first letter being H, okay, and we are converting H to, what are we converting H to? We are converting H to the ampersand symbol over here. So once we've done that, we want to push, okay, remember the JavaScript push array method. So we want to push it to this array that we created over here, okay. So we loop over the first letter and we convert it, and then we push it to the array. We do the same thing for the second one. We convert it, then we push it to the array, okay. So we want to push it to the encrypted message array, right? So we want to say encrypted message array dot push, and what are we pushing? The letter, okay, like this. All right, so once you've done this, you want to once again console.log the encrypted message array, okay? So you want to console.log the letter, okay, the progression of the array to see if you are doing the right thing, okay? So you can console.log something like, you label it something like encrypted message array, all right? And then you want to log out the encrypted message array like that, okay. When you are doing these console.logs, okay, they don't actually affect the code, right? But when you are doing this, you are doing it to make sure that you can spot any error. So for example, if you log out the encryption message array and you see that what you are getting is a string, then you know that something went wrong. All right, so this is called debugging, and I will do a special lesson on debugging, but just so you know why we are doing all this, okay. So now you've converted all the letters, you've looped through, this is the end of the loop. So you've looped through all the letters in the message that was passed, and then you converted every single letter, and then you've added the letter to the new letters to this encrypted message array, okay. So once you've done that, you have a new array with the encrypted letters. Actually, let's call the function and see what our array looks like. So I want to console.log, I want to call the function, but I want to log the result to the console, okay. So I want to say encrypted message. Actually, we haven't reached the encrypted message yet. So I want to log, okay, I want to call the encryptor, which is the name of our function. Remember how we call a function. So encryptor, and then I want to pass it the message, hello, how are you doing? Okay, let's just pass hello for now. Encryptor is not defined. Okay, so we may have made a mistake somewhere. Okay, so this is why we had the error, right? I've mentioned over and over again that spellings are very, very important. Okay, so as you can see over here, I spelled my encryptor with an E, and up there when we were creating the function, I spelled it with an O. Okay, right now I'm not actually sure which one is the correct one, but let's just change this one to E, and then our code should work. All right, so there we have it. Okay, so let's look at what is happening over here. All right, so this is where we are console.logging the message array. And once again, we had a spelling mistake over there, but because it's just a string, there was nothing wrong with that. So this one is coming from line 7. Okay, look here, main.js line 7. So you go and look at line 7. Let me correct this. Okay, so this is where we split the message that was passed into an array, and then we console.log that array. So you can see that that was nicely done. It split our message into a nice array for us, okay, individually like that. And then this is coming from, this login is coming from line 98. So what is at line 98? Line 98 is when we are logging out the content of the encrypted message array. Okay, so we converted the letters to to something else, to these symbols, and then we added them to the array. So first, when the loop runs, okay, when the loop first runs, it will look at this h and it will convert it to this end, and it will add it to the encrypted message array, and which is what we have here. And it will run for the second time, and it will look at the e, right, and then it will convert the e to this symbol over here, and it will add it to the encrypted message array. And that is why, so we have two items here. So it will do the same thing for L and convert it to this one, add it to the array, and the next L, okay, you see they are the same because they are both L's, and then the last one O, and then it will add it once again. So we now have, so this represents hello, okay, so this is the encrypted form of hello, so HELLO. But imagine someone picks this up, they definitely will not know what this means. The only one who knows is your code, okay. Your code knows what this means, right? And we'll look at how to decrypt this back into the hello, right? But of course, this is not what we want. We want a string of the message, not the array of the message. So we have to convert the array. We have to join the characters together into a string. And I added this return keyword here, right? You want to remember that when you have a function, you always must return something. Okay, so down here, this is where we want to convert the encrypted message array to a string. Okay, and we already created a variable that we will be storing that in. We call it the encrypted message. So now we want to set its value. So we want to see that encrypted message, all right, is equal to encrypted message array dot join. Remember the dot join method, okay, which is used to join arrays into a string. Okay, and you want to join them with nothing once again. Okay, if you join them with a space, let's look at what happens. So instead of returning the encrypted message array, let's return the encrypted message like this and see what happens. Okay, so now you have an array nicely, but because you see that we joined them with a space, we have some spaces between each character. We don't want that. We want them to be joined together, so we remove the space like this, and now they are nicely joined together. All right, so these are two hyphens or underscores, underscore underscore, and they look like one because they are the same, they are joined together. All right, so let's give it something a little more complex. Okay, so let's say hello, how are you doing, like that, and look at the results. Okay, so let me label this. Let's see, encrypted message array. So this our encrypted message array. Sorry, not the array, encrypted message. So this is our encrypted message. So this is essentially the same thing as the hello, how are you doing that we passed. Okay, so now the next thing to do is to write a function that will decrypt this message back into hello, how are you doing. Now this function that we are going to create, the decryption function or the decryption function, yes, it's actually just the opposite of the encryption algorithm. Okay, it's the exact opposite of the encryption algorithm. So you have the encryption algorithm converting these ones to these ones. Okay, it converts the letters to these symbols over here. Our decryption algorithm has to do the opposite, which is to convert this here, these symbols over here, back into the letters. So actually I can just copy the function and then change a few things. Okay, so I'll just copy this function okay, like this, and I'll paste it down here. And instead of encryptor, let's call it decryptor. Okay, and I said we are going to use the two methods of creating functions, so let's use the old way. So use function, okay, then we call it decryptor, like this, and then we pass it the parameter over here. All right, so let's call this uh, decrypted message instead of encrypted message. Okay, and want to actually, let's change every, okay, every repetition of encrypted to decrypted. Okay, so we can highlight the encrypted over here, press Ctrl plus F or Command plus F on Mac, and then press this key over here. I've showed you this before, but I'm just repeating. And then we want to type whatever we want to replace it with. So we want to type decrypted over here, like this. And when you press this key, as I've mentioned before, it will replace only the currently highlighted one. But when you press this key over here, it will replace all the instances of that word. So press, and then they will all be repeated. But the problem with doing this right now is that it will also replace the ones that we had in the old function, and we don't want that. So let's actually not use it. Let's do it manually. So I've done Ctrl plus Z to undo the change. So I'm now going to do it manually. All right. So I want to change this to decrypted, and I want to change this to decrypted as well. Okay. This one can remain the same. Change this one to decrypted, and finally this one to decrypted, and this one too. Wow, there's a whole lot of them. Okay, I hope I haven't left anything out. Oops, I think I went back into the old function and changed some stuff there too. All right. So just in this function, let me give more space between them so that they don't confuse us. We are using the old method, so this fat arrow should leave. All right, I think we've changed everything that needs to be changed. And the next thing that we have to change is to change the position of these symbols. In the decryption array, you want to convert this one. So you want to cut this one and then put it here. Then cut the letter A. Sorry, cut the letter A and then put it here. So we want to do the same thing for all the letters. Okay, so I've changed all of them over here. So I've replaced all of them. Okay, this also has to be decrypted message and not encrypted message. Like that. All right, and then we can also, so here instead of, when we call the function, instead of passing it, hello, how are you doing, we will pass it the encrypted message, and then it will decrypt that message for us. Okay, so let's go to the console and copy the encrypted message and pass it to our decrypted function. You can use Ctrl plus C, or you can right click and go to copy. All right, so here we want to call the function once again. Let me just copy this line. I know I'm so lazy. All right, so we'll call the function. So instead of decryptor, it's instead of encryptor, it's decryptor, and instead of hello, how are you doing, we will put the encrypted message. Oops. So let me copy the encrypted message once again. All right. So now when I press save, this message, this should decrypt the message for me. So this should be converted back to exactly hello, how are you doing? So let me change this to decrypted message. Save. All right, there you go. So our decrypted message is hello, how are you doing? Wonderful. All right, so let's quickly go through what we've done for this project. All right, so we created a function which we called an encryptor using the ES6 arrow functions. All right, and then over here we created a variable we called encrypted message, which is the variable that we save the final encrypted message in. And then we converted the message that was given to us, that was passed here to the function. We converted it to an array by using the split method, and then we console.log date. All right, then we created this array here, the encrypted message array, to store all the conversions of the individual letters. All right, and then we use the for loop to loop over the message that is giving us, all right, which is a string. We use the for loop to loop through it and convert each letter depending on what the letter is. So if it is an A, we are converting it to this. If it's a B, we are converting it to that. And then we did all that for here. And then we said that you can't use the backslash because it's a special character. All right. And actually look up escape character. I want you to do that on your own. All right. And then we converted each of the letters and then we added them to the array, okay, here by using the .push method. All right. And then finally we joined the array of the encrypted messages, okay, into a string using the .join method, and then we returned the encrypted message that we just joined over here. That is our encryption algorithm. And here we console.log by calling the function, okay, and passing it this string, hello, how are you doing? And then we got the results here as the encrypted message. All right, so we got the results here as the encrypted message, and it was this message over here. All right, so we did the same thing for the decrypted message, and essentially what we did was that we did the exact opposite. Okay, we converted everything that was encrypted to decrypted. So we pass a message here once again, and this time the message is an encrypted message. Okay, so we converted each of the symbols in the encrypted message back into its original letter, and then we push it to an array which we call the decrypted array, and then converted that array back into a string, and then returned the resulting string. Okay, so here we call the function with the encrypted version of hello, how are you doing, and then it decrypted it for us as this over here, hello, how are you doing? All right, so as I said, this is a very simple project, and it actually has some flaws that I want you to work on your own. So I want you to tweak this thing around and see the other possibilities. Okay, so one of the things is that we didn't cater for symbols. Okay, so the sentence will not always contain letters. Sometimes you can have symbols like comma. Okay, and in that case it will come back as a comma in the encrypted message, all right, which is not what we really want. Actually, let's comment out all the console.logs except for the important ones, the ones that we use for debugging. These ones we can comment them out. Usually we only need them to make sure everything is fine. So once we are sure that everything is fine, then we can comment them all out. So that our console is a bit clear now. All right. So this is what we have. So you can see that this is the encrypted message, and I added a comma in there, and the comma is still comma over here. We don't want that. All right, so you want to convert it to something. So look at what you can join some letters or some symbols together to represent a comma. All right, and over here, okay, let me copy the encrypted version of the one with the comma and convert it and see what we get. Save it. So you see what's happening over here. It is returned as an X instead of a comma. which is wrong. And let me show you why. The reason why is that in our decryption algorithm, or first in our encryption algorithm, we converted X to the symbol comma. Okay, where is X? We converted X to the symbol comma, and that is why when we added X comma to our message and then decrypted it, okay, in our encryption message, we converted comma back to an X. All right, and that is how can we have this comma being an X here. So those can cause a little confusion. So you want to represent your comma by something else in your encryption message, and then you can easily decrypt that as well. And you can add, try and see if you can add something else to this encryption, something to make it more weird and more complex and all that. So you can play around with it, and let's see what you make out of this project. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this project. It has been wonderful for me, and I will see you in the next lesson.